We are speaking to Christine Radogno, the leader of Republicans in the Illinois State Senate, a Republican from Lamont, and we were talking about the Illinois income tax. Is that going to go back to 5%?
I sincerely doubt it'll go back to 5%. I think
I should explain to viewers it fell on January 1st to 3.75%, and for those who get a regular paycheck, they've probably enjoyed that little extra boost. It's about 3 days worth of pay.
Exactly. Yeah, and it shows in your paycheck, right?
And why do you think it's not going to go back to the full 5%? Because it certainly looks like if a grand bargain is cut between the Democrats and Governor Rauner and Republican legislators, that might well be part of the deal.
Well, revenue is certainly on the table. The governor has said that, but what the governor has said is he wants to see reforms first. Hopefully we can get enough reform that there would not be a necessity to raise it back to 5% if in fact income tax is even the vehicle that's selected. I mean, there's other things being discussed as to what could be available for revenue. But again, reform first. We owe it to the people of this state to use the tax dollars they're giving us wisely.
All right, and what are the top 2 or 3 items as you see them that ought to be on the agenda for reform? So is it right to work, or is it, you've indicated workers' comp?
The workers' comp has very, very broad appeal. Not only
that'll cut costs of doing business here,
and not only that, but costs for government. I mean, you know, the city of Chicago pays huge worker comps. The state of Illinois pays huge amounts of money in workers' comp, as do all local governments. So it's not just a situation for businesses. That would be a way to do things more effectively in government as well.
What about expanding the sales tax?
You know, that's, I think, it's certainly been discussed. It's easier said than done, quite frankly, because you change behavior when you change taxes.
So right now, law firms, accounting firms, a lot of the Loop's downtown economy in Chicago is untaxed.
Right. Now, some of those might be easier to tax, frankly, than personal services like haircuts and cleaning, because that can become a cash underground business, and you know, you don't get the full benefit of it. Financial services, legal services, that you really have to have a paper trail. So, but again, do you change behavior when you start taxing things, and do we drive people out of the loop and encourage them to locate other places?
And where do you see? Do you if the governor has been very active, shall we say, in denouncing AFSCME, the biggest labor union that represents public employees at the state level. Are you looking for a strike there? Because he seems to have a series of very tough demands he's going to make to them.
They may strike. I do think that he is dead on when he talks about the conflict of interest that we have with our public employee unions, where they contribute hundreds of thousands of dollars to the very people they then sit across the table to negotiate their contracts with.
Cumulatively, it's tens of millions over the last few years.
Exactly, and he's absolutely right. That's a conflict, and that needs to change. And you know, obviously, we need to negotiate a contract, but contribution limits to politicians from public employee unions is something else that's on the table. So those are all things we need to be talking about.
And so tell me about the secret negotiations that have been taking place behind closed doors down in Springfield. You know, the complaint's been made that instead of the General Assembly holding public hearings where the governor comes and talks and anybody who wants to can come and testify, that you and other legislators and the governor's people have been meeting in super secret sessions. Even there's code words. Rich Miller reported that one of the code words for the super top secret working group charged with finding new revenue is Vegas. The revenue group is secretly called Vegas.
Well, we have working groups, is what that are talking about various subject areas.
Does that mean we're going to get a casino in Chicago?
Well, the mayor would love to have one. We'll see. But these groups are talking informally. That will not preclude public comment and input from the public and fully vetting any proposal. Right now, they're informal conversations with legislators on different sides of the aisle, and I'm not on them. Leadership is, we're not involved in these. These are members, just because we want to have the members in good faith go in there and see if they can find some common ground. Then if they can begin to talk about specific proposals, absolutely those will be fully vetted by the public and everyone will have a chance to
And in
discuss
fairness
them.
to you and other legislators and the governor down there, this kind of thing's gone on for years. There have been these kind of behind closed door meetings
Well, you
early
have
on.
to have conversations about concepts with people. It has to start somewhere. And I do think we've done a pretty good job about, when a proposal is about to pop, it does get out there.
All right, so how many days of hearings and how much public scrutiny will any of this get?
Well, when the grand bargain, the actual detailed language, my guess is it'll go pretty quickly. But if we're talking about, say, a Chicago casino, if we're talking about workers' comp reform, if we're talking about the term limits,
A sales tax rewrite.
a sales tax
Possible
rewrite.
partial restoration of the income tax.
Right.
That's a lot of heavy lifting.
It is a lot of heavy lifting. And, again, all the parts won't necessarily have a corresponding part on the other side, but it'll be, did you feel like you, in general, at the end of the day, got what you wanted? And did I, in general, at the end of the day, feel that I got some of what I needed? And it's finding that balance.
All right. Senator Christine Radogno, thanks very much for joining us. We hope to have you back soon. When we come back, we are going to be joined by a Democrat, State Representative Jack Franks from McHenry County. And we're going to be talking about a proposal that he has to cut the number of government units up in the north and northwest suburbs. We'll be right back.